Before we continue, let's um let's make this point right quick. We have Tucson, which is in Arizona. Which is Phoenicia out the west, being in Phoenix. And we can tell by the architecture they call Andalusian. It could be called Mediterranean or Moorish. But we can see the arches and we can see the roof, the tiles, how the tiles laid out. Usually red or cimarron, which is cinnamon, brick layer, brick color layer. Okay, we gonna remember this because we gonna see a lot of this in America. And Florida got a lot of houses, which is the South, in this style. Um, on a movie, Scarface, Tony Montana had an Andalusian style house. Many is in Florida, California, New Mexico, Arizona, South America, throughout the South. We're gonna look at a couple before we continue on from yesterday. Alamo style. This style right here is considered Moorish American by experts, being that the style is found over the Americas more than it's found in other parts of the world. And you got the tile roof and the white bottom. It's typical of Andalusian style. You know another one. And this is in America. And in Florida, they got a street called Andalusian Way, and all the houses on that street is Andalusian. They named the street Andalusian Way because of that. When people build these houses in this style nowadays, but they get it from the surrounding houses that they see. Some more. Pay attention to the style of the rooftop. Indicative to Mediterranean style. Most of the rooftops are red. Okay, now let's continue from yesterday. Right here. Okay, we left off talking about the Christians, the Magomatic Moors. Well, he was king of the Christians. And these are vicaries in the Americas. Felipe II was also a vicary. He was also a king of Spain. And this is where we get the Philippines. Or it could be a different Felipe II. There was a lot of Felipes. The third and the fourth. They all stole Moorish and phenotype until you get to Carlos II. But he stole the Emperor of Peru, as you can see. And as Moors, majorly, we leave the color status again alone because that's a way to inherit you. The family of the men who still around today, they like we heard in the video before this, 2 videos before this, where Isabel Alvarez said most of the nobility in Europe erased the ethnic past. So they take off down the butchers and whitewash the butchers to the guys like this, and keep the butchers to these guys in order to keep they clean. But they clean come through the name, not through how people look. Okay, so that's why we tell you to just try to get off that colorism and deal with the facts. The name, your inheritance, and your reparation all come with the facts. Isabella Alvarez, her great grandfather, was known as a martyr, and that's why she came out and telling the story about it because she know that her bloodline is Moorish. So she really making her book for herself to let them know that America's land of the Moors. And she been dealing with her own ancestry. She ain't been too much trying to worry about us, trying to get the thing, try to set the record straight for us. She been trying to set the record straight for her people and herself, knowing that her lineage come from more from this side. Hope you sound better and we got Pizarro, who I showed earlier in the last video. He was the slave of one of these Felipes, I believe, or Carlos. I gotta go back. We got a timeline dealing with all these conquistadors. The little history behind each of them. And Almagro. Right here show Mama being the title. Spell the same way we spell it now, M-A-M-E. Mama. A Moorish American title. And we're dealing with that. What's interesting, we always see them with this broom. We'll look that up to see what it's about. But as we can see, the Christian powers and the other powers, the Islamic powers, and the ones in between, all was you. You want to hear this is both. And is being managed by the church within trusts. So, part of one side or the other. Okay. We'll do a little bit more reading in this one. The Statue of Liberty on Bedloe Island in the Bay of New York was designed by Bartholdi and presented by the franchise or Free People of the Union States, or French. That's another word for that. In the year 188. I guess he mean 1888. In honor of the victorious daughter of the American Revolution, the victorious daughters of the American Revolution who overthrew the Moorish Society of Islam. The statue was completed in 1886. On Ellis Island, all so-called white foreigners are taught to uphold the Union States' right myth of white supremacy before they can qualify for citizenship in good old USA. The statue of the Christ of the Andes in Argentina, South America, Argentina meaning country of silver, was erected in the year 1892 in honor of the Free Franciscan Sons of the Union Army of North American Republic of 1863, Civil War period, who defeated the last of the fallen Moorish nation from Cuba to the islands of Hawaii and the Philippines between 1863 and 1898. The fallen Moorish nations are referred to in the U.S. history books as Spanish. So that part right there, this part, In this part, we're gonna dig into. We ain't gonna dig into the rest right now. We're gonna deal with that when we get to North America for the next week or so. But right now, we're gonna deal with South America and the holy wars that happened in old times, and what lead we gonna lead up to us in North America. But all is connected. We could read another piece that's similar. And here's the statue of the Andes in Argentina. I believe that's the one. Or it could be a new one. But I know it's on the side of a mountain, on top of a mountain. Some of this might be repetitive, but we're gonna prove it. CMB. The undefeated Moorish Marine Force of North America and the Pacific Island, 1853 at the Golden Gate, California. The Japanese or Spanish are the product of the undefeated Moorish Marine Force in the year 1273 Moorish calendar year, which is equivalent to 1853 Crusade Crux or Christian calendar year. So we know the Christian calendar is a part of the Crusades. So I just be hearing a lot of these boys when they do some Moors and they be like, this man probably go right by the goddamn Crusade Crux in his household. And he got the nerve to speak and he didn't even understand what's going on. You go by the date, you call yourself black, you speak English, all those are signs of you being subjugated by the Christian powers. A lot of Moors go into the courts and they show the judge this. They show the judge multiple things that show the judge that you under the jurisdiction of the Christian powers, whether you know it or not. And then they be no more trying to claim jurisdiction under the order of Islam. And and you know, depending on where that judge is at in this level, you can't assume that these people know shit. You can know more than these motherfuckers. They're idiots, trust me. Especially if you learn words, you learn the science of that language. Number one thing, if you want to deal with this thing you automatically dealing with it from a lawful standpoint. History and law go together. But one of the most important things to do is to learn the language that you speak, which would be English in this case. So etymology. And then you start to see that a lot of the stuff, you'll be questioning them on the words they use and what they're saying so much that they won't be able to even deal with you. They look at you as somebody smarter. When people do that, that's when they want to show respect. So also the Moors, during that era, their skin were dark brown. They also had thick lips and kinky hair. So also the Moors of modern Hawaii and the Philippines had thick lips and dark skin and kinky hair. The modern Japanese and Philippines and the Hawaiian skin are golden shade owing to the one-sided relationship between the white men and the dark-skinned women. Now, we will get into that when we get to North America too. We used to have amalgamation parties. People want to account this for rape, but that's not the whole story. Even though that may have happened, most likely that we going through this now, right? So, but it wasn't on some white man that's been out here raping dark-skinned women. We had like parties in goddamn like breeding farms type shit. And we get to North America, people ain't gonna like that video, but you know how I come in. I come with the hardcore truth, just to bring a tear to your eye. Anyway, we gonna get into these Hawaiians, Philippines, Cubans, and the likes. We're gonna get into a date later to 1853, so we're gonna get into the gold shade, how that come about. We gonna see how that come about, but we gonna see them right before the gold shade, but they already losing their kinky hair. Okay, from the United States depiction of it. So take everything with a grain of salt. And we got the Philippines, we got Hawaii, these depictions, Puerto Rico, and Cuba, and we can see it's still dark skin at this point in the game. In class on so-called civilizing, but they dealing with the Moorish nation, the fallen Moorish nation. You see, lessons in self-government, the first lessons. They got your American Negro in the back there with they want him to do work. And look at the chair he's sitting. He's sitting in the chair of the Moorish nation. Uncle Sam. It's his class and but he working in the class. And they teaching these morals about how to run it on. You know how it is today. United States still got their dealings in these places. In semi independent nations. And look at the original American Indian at the same time. Him is the same person, really. But United States already split into two, and different, Walter Plick and them, right? Without their consent. Right here we got the new founding fathers. you know, they learning about the great states, and the great states belong to him. But he took it during the Civil War, behind the scenes. Let's get to the facts. Look at Alaska back there. We got the Asian representative. He still got melanin attached to him. At this point, and this late in the game, this like, they don't know no dates. But we know these things come after the Civil War and this Reconstructed era. Another one showing the United States, different parts. These the people who owe us. Holland, France, and they chastising Castro for being bad in the class because they know Castro's supposed to be sitting down with the rest of the Moors who getting reconstructed. Germany, England, and that's what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with this situation, Shit deep. All right. You see Hawaii getting married by force. she looking distressed. To Uncle Sam, the United States annexation policy by the church. And we got the South. We got the Moors or whatever. No, what are these people? The mechanics. And they rebels too, but you can see that the United States and them still around together. They still recognizing each other. Senator Morgan. But the North and the South split between these two. We got the immigration. Look at the states: New Orleans, Chicago. I know that's on top of anarchists. Chicago societies in New York. And then we got Polish and the Germanic people. These Germanics end up being these people. And these people, the original so-called whites in the South, A lot of them bleach in with these, and they lose their birthright. With us in the 14th Amendment, the 14th Amendment is immigration laws. Part of it, immigrants, millions on top of millions. That's what a lot of they can go do their records and find out that that's the facts for them. So-called African Americans, they ain't got no records that bring them from anywhere. Some claim they do, but it's because you find your great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, whatever, 5 times back. Birthplace been Angola. That could have mean Anguilla, which is in America. We dealt with that in the last video. We could deal with that a little bit more here in this one. As we can see, we got Spain seal. We got the seal of so-called Spain. This already been under the jurisdiction of Andalus. And we got Portugal right there, and Spain under this power. The one with the red, the black, it's hard to see. But you can see they in the Maghreb, Andalus, all the way up there. And you got the so-called, these Moors, they right there. They rocking the whole North America and in South America and Peru and all that shit. That shit. And you got, in her book, what they want to act like, she rewriting so-called history. But like she said the Spanish did it, and she investigated, making it setting it straight. We can see the same ones. She claimed this area to be Morocco and Fez and of the side. And look, on this map, she ain't bring this up, but I seen this. She absolutely right. That shit is the same on both sides. And she point that out. She point Morocco and Fez being right here. And according to her research, if she had resources like we had, like the internet and fucking Google Maps, she would have been 10 times as powerful in her book than she already is. Shit deep. I find an extra shit. You know, we got Mar Negro, the Black Sea. Right there. I got maps that show it's the Red Sea, but that's interesting. There on this map, Portolano. You got the Black Sea on that one. So interesting map to show how the whole world been under jurisdictions of families, and those families fought. And inhabitants as the members of those families. Once families get so big, too big, the noblest of those families, they they situate themselves in a castle, and they manage the people, which is their family members. They call them their people, but they create a caste system based off ability. So that's why most you gotta just make sure you got your family in order, and make sure you keep good records. That's one of the things they separate themselves by saying that we keep records, and the people, and most of the people don't, so they can't know not their foremothers and forefathers. They don't even have the records of them. The United States keep our records, so that will put us in a subservient status just by that aspect, record keeping. We got St. Martin de Porres, and they got that broom again to show that. And look, we got this slave, you got the bread. But just take a look on both sides of the wall. We got this beautiful sister here, young Portuguese or Jamaican woman photographed in Hawaii somewhere around 1890. References to Portugal often carried the connotation of black, you see, in the early days. So these Christian Moors who went under the term black. And we can see it, we see Moors who come from out of the Islamic tradition, change their name, join one of the Portuguese, one of these other Moors, Christian Moors, because they all look alike at this time. So they would switch sides and shit back and forth. And when they dealing with the Christian cousins or whatever, they ain't calling them Moorish. They call him Philip the African or Philip the Black. See what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying, young Pharaoh? You see you the black and the African, right? That's the side you take. That's the position you taking. You ain't want to be Moorish no more. You upset from something your uncle, y'all beefing or whatever, now you joining Charleston boy. And you still dealing with that today, even though we already not forget the science of all this shit. And we're dealing with what was given to us in the 5th, 6th generation redone version of all this shit, but we're gonna learn today. She young, they say a young Portuguese or Jamaican. That means she probably spoke Portuguese, that's all I mean. Cause like we just show on this map, this a worldwide thing. This ain't at one spot. This ain't Portugal right here or Spain. All this Portugal and Spain, according to this map. You had your family crest, but this is your family crest, right? But you probably have the Islamic map version of this with a different crest and shit like that. I got some crest from the Islamic Andalusians too now. You got the same stories from what happened in Spain. It's a story of America on steroids. You got much more room and much more time period to deal with. And I say she get that connotation of black because of what we've been dealing with the Cristianos and Moros. Since the Cape Verde Islands, in the early days, since the Cape Verde, Cape Verde right there, lying west of Africa, we're a Portuguese colony. And we know we're still dealing with the war. This author writing in ambiguous terms, so, for many, she typified the mixed racial heritage of one subgroup of Hawaiian society, you see? So she in Hawaii. She probably speak Portuguese. That's why we want to bring that up. And people in Jamaica probably even speak Portuguese. Like, why would they? This was photographed in 1890. So the person who writing this, just they doing what we call making educated analysis based off context clues or other researches that you do. In this book, they're dealing with a lot of the Moors from in different places that they considered they shouldn't be based off the history, right? They came from Africa to come to the Western Hemisphere for the first time, these dark-skinned people, right? So they shouldn't be in the Midwest, in the West California, out in the Marina Kingdoms and the islands of the Pacific and stuff like that. So this book getting into that. Who is these people and all that, and how they get there. They're going to bring them there from. They came with Spanish explorers and Portuguese explorers and stuff like that. Doing their best based off the history that we got. But we know that history been flipped upside down. We know that. The person who's doing the research, they always come across so much anomalies because of that. But these are people. They over her, and they over us Hawaii. Alonso Fernandez de Lugo reconquered Palma and Tenerife. We'll get into that. Palma and Tenerife, we deal with like Venezuela and Panama and stuff like that in that area in Colombia for being in power of infidel Canaries. So they they connected the people from the Canary Islands, the Moors from the Canary Islands with some of the Moors over here, calling them the Ponches or the Gaunches. You know, I think I touched on that a little bit in the older videos. But they call them infidels because they were under the order of Islam. Expeditions of Basque and Andalusians who sailed from Seville in 1393 under the auspices of Henry III, jumped in Lanzarote, capturing 160 blacks. Neighbors of the same time with king and queen head, leather and wax completed the loot. So you can see we got wars between each other already going on. Way before 1492, 100 years, we already see the empire at war on both sides. Okay, we can deal with some of the Christian powers, how they get into it. The Canaries practice sun worship like the Americans. So she making the connections like I just made this now, that these same people, they might be at war at each other, but let's go polygamous and monogamous alternately. They dress shallow loincloth, notwithstanding the fact that the women of Palma covered their faces. So he's saying she know that they've been under the order of Islam based off certain clues like that. On the island, they had houses of prayer, becoming suspect of cannibalism and practicing human sacrifices. So they always want to try to throw that on these tribes over here because they know of the stories of the ancient Phoenicians and the Carthaginians. They had those same stories. So they, in history books, they try to use that to say, they're the same people. So we do the law take it for what it is. Them the same people. You still old. We ain't doing that today, so don't worry about that, okay? Perhaps for having in their territory, see, just by them having in their territory the hail of Messiah, low and circular crater suitable for the practice. You don't know what them people been using that for. The mountain of Tenerife are steep. Their slingers made the Castilians suffer more than one setback. Replica of those suffered by the conquerors and Darien. We can check on that. And Darien and the mountains of Tenerife, called the Caucasian Mountains. You know, so that's interesting right there in itself. Which, by the Caucasian Mountains, they got a city called Caracas. So that may even make everything even more interesting when we looking at this story from this point of view, from this video I'm making, that I making this claim that your slavery story happened in war faction, holy war faction on this land, mostly. That would make sense why we call these people Caracas from the Caucasus Mountains. And we got that in Colombia, right? So these stories come from somewhere. And a lot of, like we said, history been flipped upside down, so we put it on the other side of the world, but we got it. We can Google, let's check it out. Okay. Let's check it out right now. Don't need to talk about it. Investigate it. These boys don't show Caucasia. Let's see the Caucasia Mountain. And we got Caracas right next to it. And these are the mountain ranges that she's talking about in Tenerife. This Tenerife area right here. I think Tenerife is still over here. I think they turned it to a smaller state, but this whole area was Tenerife. And the Carthage of the Indies, right there, Carthago Indiarum. got La Palma. He talk about La Palma right there. And we got what other one been? Darien. Right there. So we in the same area that we reading about, just in case. I'm gonna get a picture in my head. And the slingers that we've been using shooting at these Castilians, we stay beating the Castilians up over here. They ain't really get into over here until much later than where they claimed. We had shotguns and shit. They suffer more than one setback. Yeah, because we've been destroying them at first, but our walls weaken us. The Castilians, and we call them the Castilians because they've been like real light. They've been being like the caste system. They caste people. That's my opinion on them. And you know, we read about the Banderants and this one. The Banderants who been gold diggers. They changed their profession around 1591. Devoted themselves to capturing blacks, okay? Now we're gonna deal with them. According to Wikipedia. I got other stories in Spanish about them from different books, but we're gonna show you how Wikipedia ain't even lying about it. They just gonna tell you that they don't add this to the slave story, but we as to the Banderants. And the Banderants were 17th century Sao Paulo, Brazil, inhabitants and Portuguese settlers in Brazil, and fortune hunters. This group mainly hailed from Sao Paulo region, which was known as the Captaincy of São Vicente until 1709, and then as the Captaincy of Sao Paulo. They led expeditions called bandeiras, flags, when penetrated in the interior of Brazil far west of the Tordesillas line. You see, they're dealing with holy wars. All this history, you can't leave these out. So go back and look at Tasha Ray videos again. Cause he telling the same story, telling you which officially divided Castilian, later Spanish West domain of the Portuguese East domain of South America. So we deal with the 1430 split up of the kingdom, and we call it the Kingdom of Fez. At the beginning of this video, or the video before this. But if you read this, they claim that they went attacking Indians. Like the history books got them going after Moors or capturing blacks. It is what it is. The Castilians use the term Indies, mostly the Castilians in their oral records. Then only people who been writing back and forth letters and stuff like that, licenses and stuff, you know. The Pope, the Vatican called it Fez. The entire the Kingdom of Fez. They're the main culprit, the one who's splitting up between the different families. Going Spain, Portugal. When you take these whole families and you come together, or whatever, you create these countries and these companies. We're dealing with the Sharif and Noble. She's better on this, the Sharif. the Sharife. And also go look up Kakikwe. They also will, what it's called Sharife. Wikipedia call it Kakikwe, but we find Kakikwe is all over North America in the South, and the history of the Indian history. We find these Kakikwe. That's how I know they're playing games with us. About the same of Sharife. These Sharife has been all over the world. But that's the chief. The same way the Christian Moors, the Christian powers had their Holy Roman Empire. You had your Moorish Empire on top of it. And they all been intertwined at one point. Los Negritos. And then we're gonna read about them in a second. Let's read it first. Okay, yeah, 42. They captured 160 blacks. And they captured them from La Palma. When they reconquered, you see, they were conquering back and forth. And La Palma and Tenerife, we just checked that out. And these people they captured right from this place, they got taken to Seville in 1393. They end up creating organizations after they freeing themselves. They start getting put on the Christian customs and stuff like that. Just like us today, becoming black people and all that shit. We can show you an example, early example. So we already read this right now. Let's remember when they jumped in Lazaro, they captured 160 black. We're gonna find out about them. Looking at 42 from the Chronicle of Henry III. So that's the source from that little piece. Traditions say that the Brotherhood of the Negritos, the blacks, Dean of the Holy Week in Seville, was founded in the same year. So that's according to her research. She putting two and two together, like these blacks has been the ones who were captured from America at that point, that same year, and they created this Brotherhood of the Blacks. So they take the name that they've been given on the cargo as the cargo, as a place name. It's fucking crazy. Not a place name, but a name for themselves. There's no doing it again. Even though in certain instances, these and Portuguese enslavers, they know the word Negrito and Negro been already used towards people of the near Negro rivers, which is in South America and in Africa, as we know it today. We got the Negro River and Rio Negro. So we'll get into that in the video. Signs of all this, the word more and the word black and stuff like that. Indian. We're gonna break this thing down, lay it all out. No time to play. So they create this group, and they did not receive whites until the 19th century. So they been like, no. And this book was, and then, well, this is a different source from something different. So we'll get into that. And this is the modern day aspect of it. These Americans who've been captured in 1393. I mean, they're the descendants of them. in Spain today. And then you see, they create this brotherhood and they create these regalia. So they even have to steal these so-called slaves. These slaves, they have to steal these people's regalia and shit. And join their brotherhoods and shit. It's just crazy. See, in the Wikipedia, they'll tell you something. They'll tell you the facts. You just gotta know how to read it. You see, the blacks loved Los Negritos prior to 1400. See. They know about the 1393. But they ain't gonna tell you where these people come from. Of course not. Up to the mid-19th century, only black people, or free and slave, could be full members. So that's Wikipedia, a little piece on the Los Negritos. Blacks in Zaville, so-called people who call themselves black in Spain right now is our family, our people. All them reparations too. Okay. Province of Casanare. The province of Casanare was let's check that out. I think in our same area where we at. Excuse me. And we got the Mediterranean style and Andalusian style, right? We're gonna see that in the painting. And remember to look at the roof and in the city of palms, we got palm trees everywhere. And we see it over there too. The red roofs and the white bottoms. Palm trees. We got the moss. Look, you got the summertime, you got the red bandana around, red rope. We had something that we had around our waist, our head. He got him this way. This is how he did it in this Moorish American aspect. And we got, they've been masters of these horses. And vaqueros sort of. They got about 6 or 7 different names. In America alone, they got about 7 different names, but they all been good horsemen or whatever. So, and Vista de la Plaza de Moreno, capital de Casanare. So they've been in the town called Moreno, the Plaza of the Morenos. And, these are people like this place been this area, Tenerife, this been the land. These been the lands of the Holy War, split by the Vatican, and they going to make war on the Moors in this area. And where these Moors ended up, all over other parts of America, especially North America, and that's why we know we Moors, We remember those holy South America holy wars. They find the archaeological remains of Santiago del Principe, the Black Numancia. I looked that up in a second. The Espaya Lope de Vega. The enclave located in the jungle of Panama became famous for the resistance it showed to the attacks of Francis Drake, as they preferred to burn their homes rather than surrender to a motherfucker. But that story different from what they tell us about how you picking up Moors who been at war with each other. You picking up the ones during wars you got people who want to abandon the battlefields, and you're gonna have people who, but they are not. If your general lose their head, a lot of the time they'll make the rest of surrender. they'd rather burn their homes and let Francis take them. Even one of them banderas probably. And we got see. Still dogs, man. And that's late in the game right here. He died 1662, so they're kind of early. But it's in the middle of your slave story, right? Enrique Diaz was the general of the Portuguese colony of Brazil. He served with distinction against Dutch forces for control of Brazil and played important roles in the First and Second Battle of Carapes. For his courage and leadership in battle, the Portuguese came in him the Knight of the Order of Christ. We're going to get into that a little bit. Most of the old photos of the people of the Order of Christ with dark skin. Like my man. He fighting Dutch forces and shit. It's from Guadalupe. Let me see how they had. When you've been ruling on both sides of the war. 1745. Or 745. You know they put that one, the I, that one in front of those numbers. For add history, add date, years to the calendars. Depiction of Mexico. You got your friars. You had black friars and you had so-called white friars, so-called black friars, right? You had your gold diggers. You had everybody riding with jurisdiction, under jurisdiction and church in this pen. This mural.